Hi, I'm Blake from baaelectronics, and this is the Sennheiser EW300 G2 handheld, released back in 2004, and this one currently doesn't work. So I'm going to go over the two most common problems with these handhelds, and for each of those problems I'm going to show you how to replace the internal circuitry inside one of these. Okay, so the first and probably the most common problem with these is that the power button just goes away. So if I zoom in here, you probably can tell that there's no power button there. What happens is that the button inside actually breaks off from the circuit board. So there's two ways to fix that. The easiest way is if you have another broken mic, and I'm going to show you how to do that. But then another problem is that here I have another one here. This is a slightly different one. You see it has the red indicator on it. This one has a power button, but it doesn't exactly do anything. And this is also another common problem, but it's with the second circuit board inside the mic. So I'll show you how to change that out too. Okay, I'm going to go back to the blue one with no power button because this is one of the easiest ones to change. So first off, unscrew the tail. Get the tail out of here. See, it comes apart like that. That's where you get your batteries. Obviously, there's no battery door on this, so I'm suspecting what happened to this one is someone probably just dropped it on the ground. The power button broke off. And so there's 3 T7 screws around the outside of the tail. Obviously, this one doesn't have its screws because it's kind of popped off because obviously I've been doing a little practice with these, actually trying to fix them. I did manage to fix 2 of them, so I thought it'd be helpful to have a tutorial on how to actually repair these because these seems like a pretty common problem. So I have a T7 bit here on my super rusty T7 on my super rusty screwdriver. So you undo the 3 screws here, and this will just slide off. There's your tail. And then you have the wireless board and the control board. So the first screw that you're going to take out of here is the screw on this little board on the outside. This is the board that goes through the entire mic and connects to the capsule up here. So I'm going to take out the T7 screw. Just loosen that up. I'd normally recommend a magnetic parts tray for this because there's a lot of screws and they're all different. But I'm not using one since I did this a ton of times. So now what you're going to do is grab some tweezers or a pick. And I also have a pick here. I like the tweezers method. So you're going to take both sides of the locking mechanism, pull it out to unlatch your ribbon cable. You grab the ribbon cable with your tweezers, pull it out of there. So now this board is free. So you can see I can move it around a little bit. So I'm going to come up to the top where the windscreen is. Go ahead and unscrew that windscreen. There's nothing in here because the capsule's down here. And I'm going to push the entire thing through the mic. So now you get just the circuit and the mic itself. So now what you're going to do, if there's a screw here, you're going to have to take that out because it holds in both the battery cover and the entire capsule and the circuit board back here. If you don't have that screw in, that happens. So this mic actually doesn't have a battery cover or a screw here. So it's just the thing and the other thing. This board goes all the way through the body, connects to the circuit board, comes up here, connects to the mic. This part, I haven't found anything wrong with these parts yet. These seem to be fairly reliable. The main problem is down here at this board, or either one of these boards really. Okay, so your next screw is underneath the board that you just took off, and so it's another T7 screw right there. And this screw is what holds in the LCD board. And this is a really long screw. So you want to keep this separate from the other screws. It's really fine threaded and it's pretty long. so keep that in mind. And then the two boards will separate. There's a ribbon cable connecting both of them together. So depending on what board you're swapping, you want to take that ribbon cable out of here. So in my case, I'm going to be swapping this entire LCD unit. So I'm going to take it out from this side. I'm going to leave the ribbon cable with the LCD board. Take the ribbon cable out from there. So now I just have this body with the power board, the mute switch, and the wireless. So you can probably already see the problem with this one is that this switch, the power switch, is just broken off. You could probably get a better view of that now. Get the light. Yeah, look, there's not even any switch there. So that's, I mean, all the G2s I've seen, that switch has just been broken off. So there's two options to fix this. One, just change out this body, which is what I did for one of my other mics. Just change out this entire body. Keep your mic element. Place this in the other body. And then use your existing control board. It was kind of convenient for me because I had two mics that had the power button issue and two mics that had an issue with this circuit board. And so if you don't have an extra body to replace this, then you're going to have to do some surface mount desoldering. The switch is sold online for actually a surprisingly expensive price. So you get one of those, you desolder a switch. I'm not going to show desoldering because one, I don't have any solder wick right now, and two, because I already have a body to replace this thing. So that's what I did. Switch out the body. And for demonstration purposes, I'm just going to imagine that I had a new body and a new control board, because you can see this one is not functional. So on these boards, there's a tiny spot here where a coil or a capacitor or an inductor would sit. I actually don't remember what it is. Pretty sure it's an inductor that sits right here, or coil. And it just snapped off the board. Most likely because someone dropped this microphone, so this part is the heaviest part on this board, except for the screen, of course, but the screen's glued in. That part just fell right off the board. So you could either buy a replacement, which I'm not going to. In my case, say I had an extra control board. So what I'm going to do is let's just say this is my new body. And I'm going to open up the ribbon connector, take my control board, slot that ribbon in there. Till you feel it click in there. You get in there with your tweezers or your pick, push it closed. Your ribbon's connected. So now you fold the board up. You get your long screw. I found it. It's stuck to the tripod. So you take your board, fold it over, take your long screw, thread it through the hole, make sure you have the washer on the inside, which it doesn't really matter. And tighten down, screw, nice and tight in there. And then you take your mic with the component side facing out. That was a mistake I made earlier. Make sure to have the components facing out. You don't want to have it like this, so it won't fit and the mic won't work. Make sure you have a component side out, slot it in, and there's a little track that runs down the entire body of the mic. Push that in. And while you're pushing it in, it's important to push down this little ribbon cable because part of it actually goes underneath the board that we're slotting in. So make sure that part of your ribbon cable is underneath that little board that goes through the body. You open up the lock and slot that ribbon, push it in so you don't see any of the blue part. Lock it closed. Then after that ribbon cable, you take your screw and you put it through the hole in your board. Take your T7 bits and screw that screw down into the board, securing it in. And then if you have a battery compartment, this one doesn't, you take your screw, your Phillips head screw actually, take your Phillips head screw, screw it all the way in so your board doesn't come out of the mic and your battery cover stays in. And then you take your mic body, the larger parts, shove in first. Shove everything into the larger end of the mic body so it goes all the way through. Get locked in right there. Take your windscreen, you put your identifying ring into the body. Put your windscreen on top. Make sure not to cross thread it. There you go. Screw your windscreen in. And then on this side, I'm going to grab your little rubber button, put it on the tip of your finger, run your finger up the way until you get to the top. Keep your red button in the little notch down there. You take the entire mic assembly, sure to line it up right, push the tail on, and then put your 3 Torx screws back into the mic. Hopefully, if you don't have a component broken off of your LCD board and you don't have a switch broken off of your power board, like this one is currently, both its power board and its control board were replaced from, actually I think it was this one. I took it from this one and I simply put them in here. So this one has a new body because the power board is embedded into the body itself because it's part of the battery compartment. And then I just screwed in a new LCD board, press that button, and screen lights up. Now I think it is worth mentioning that some of the models out here are capable of operating in the 600 megahertz range, and as of I think July 2020 or something like that, it's illegal to operate in that range. So look inside your mic, look for the frequency range. I'm gonna look for the frequency range, make sure it's not in that 600 megahertz whatever range. This is in 518 to 554, so perfectly fine, perfectly working. That is, if no one decides to drop it again. Thanks for watching my kind of simple, short repair of the EW300 G2 series. I have not yet had a broken body pack yet, but if I do get a broken body pack, I will show how to replace the boards in that. But for now, that is all. Thank you for watching.